iCarly.
Finding a true love case is bullshit. 'Cause I felt sad.
Basically, iCarly is one of Nickelodeon's most popular shows, and you'll see that they tend to float around the internet quite as much with Sadie and Freddie and all those crazy fanfics. Crazy fanfics. And recently the iCarly revival has come out without Jeanette McCurdy, without Noah Monk. And I'm here to talk about it. The revival. Yeah. One thing that bugs me before we start the video is when people call the revival the iCarly reboot. I'm just gonna say this out, I'm gonna make it clear. There is a very clear difference between a reboot and a revival. The meaning of a reboot is like the Ben 10 reboot. It's a reboot of the original. It's like, here's the original, here's the reboot. There's no string line of continuation. Ben wouldn't stay 10 years old after that summer, because summer only comes once a year, and Ben's birthday is in December. He wouldn't be turning 10, he wouldn't be turning 11 again that December. So, there's no sort of string of continuity between them of this is how many years passed, because it's not how it worked from original to Alien Force and Alien Force to Ultimate Alien and Ultimate Alien to Omniverse. And Omniverse doesn't go to reboot. That's not how it works. What it does do is now we're moving on to the meaning of a revival, is that it takes what's already known and makes it continue, like it's here again. Ben 10 to Ben 10 Alien Force. I'm just using Ben 10 as an example because I used to be an only Ben 10 YouTuber, and now I just make videos on Ben 10 for fun. Honestly, I really have no idea what kind of YouTuber I am now. I kind of forgot. So I'm making a video on the iCarly revival as a whole. If you remember, I made a video on the first episode of the iCarly revival, because that's pretty much all I had time to watch. That's all I had time to review. Those are the first 3 episodes only came out at that time. And then I know I should have made a video on it sooner, but I just kept forgetting. Like, there were so many other things, like new, movies, TV shows, and all that stuff. Shang-Chi, I also saw that. I'm also making a review on it. So I was working on a bunch of other videos. There's just all these videos I want to make, but I just can't because I have other videos to make too. So, now you guys are finally seeing my thoughts on the iCarly, revival. So, let's talk into it. Now, I already did the first episode. I already talked about the first episode in my video called "The iCarly Revival is Amazing," which I then now realize that I sort of misspelt amazing in the thumbnail, but that's fine because Carly's covering the second M. So, I'm not gonna touch upon too much on the first episode here, so I'm gonna link that video down in the description so you guys can check it out if you want. And right now, as I'm talking, there'll also be a card up in the corner, so click that if you guys don't feel like scrolling down to the description. Now, let's dive into the second episode, I Hate Carly. I'm not gonna, name the episodes name by name, because there's like 12 more, right? So I'm just gonna talk about like episode 12, 13, I just sort of remember the name, I Hate Carly, for this case. So don't expect me to keep, naming them as we go on, because I actually forgot most of the names. I remember I Hate Carly, I returned to Webicon, so let's just talk about I Hate Carly. Basically, this episode sees the return of Nora Dershlit, the very much unfavored love interest of Freddie Benson, which is more like a one-sided love interest. I remember the one part where they made out in iPsycho. I'd play the clip here, but I just don't feel like it. I would play a lot of the clips here. I just don't feel like it because I'm still working on getting that Filmora. It keeps auto canceling. Trying I'm using the most basic video editor, and it's really hard to clip my audio voice and then play in some clips and then switch back to the webcam. It's harder. So I'll start doing that a bit more, but from now on, basically just gonna keep using the webcam, just because when it comes down to copyright claims, it's not the easiest thing to do to clip a video every 10 seconds. So I'm getting really backtracked. Okay, and Carly is getting a lot of, she's starting up iCarly again, so she's getting comments because this is sort of a YouTube type thing, and she's had to tell people to subscribe. So if you guys aren't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. But she gets this comment from this one guy. I think his name was I Hate Carly or something. I think that was his username. And he's always commenting, do better, do better. And Carly's like, I can do better. I'm doing the best I can. Which probably isn't, but this is Carly Shay we're talking about. You never really know what's her best or what's her worst. So anyway, flash forward, this guy, Carly meets him. Doesn't know it's him. Carly meets him and falls for him. Right? Carly falls for this guy because, not to sound gay or anything, but he's what you would probably see in like a Baywatch. He's like the guy who could replace Zac Efron in Baywatch, okay? And Carly falls for him. Why did I keep mentioning that? So he knows that's Carly, and then as an end result, he starts feeling bad about, just commenting do better because he himself falls for Carly. So, what do we get to this point? At the end, Carly is trying to figure out piece by piece who it is. And there's a little Easter egg where she guesses where Lubert is on the board. She does not write St. Lubert, but remember messing with Lubert. That was fun. So, Lubert isn't outright mentioned, but, basically, at the end, we sort of find out that it was him, and that the reason for commenting do better was because Carly never showed a video of him, and it's a really kind of stupid thing he's doing. I completely forgot, otherwise I'll tell you right now. But yeah, moving on to the third episode. Did I actually forget what this is called? Yeah, whatever, episode 3. I know this one was about memes. It recreated the classic interesting meme from Drake and Josh, but now it's iCarly canon. So that's actually pretty cool. There's not too much to talk about this episode, but up until this point, I wasn't enjoying the revival as much as I did the original. I prefer, currently, don't hate me to this, I prefer the revival over the original. I don't know. Something about seeing all these characters grown up is just, it makes me feel, it gives a different vibe that I enjoy. So the episode starts out with Carly, at Spencer's apartment, and he's about to reveal his new, I forgot what that word is. Sculpture, yes, he's about to reveal his new sculpture. Then Carly takes a bite of a moldy meatball, spits it out. Harper takes a picture of it at the exact moment, and then it's a meme. It's everywhere. It's a meme. And that's literally the episode. You also get this cool moment, like, no, not like a moment, like a part of the episode, about, like, where Spencer's, museum part, open part is, Um, it's like he makes a museum about social media. That's pretty, weird. Like the bad habits of social media. So that's episode 3 in a nutshell, really. Like it only took what, like 3 minutes? Probably more, but I don't care. On to episode 4. I'm gonna start moving through these a lot quicker because we've already hit 10 minutes in the video, 10.5 minutes. So I'm gonna start getting through these a lot quicker. I'm just gonna start summarizing them because we have like, I don't even know, more to go. So we have 13 episodes and we're on the 4th one. So let's just have math geniuses do that because we have like 9 left. Actually, that's correct, but I don't care. Basically, in episode 4, continues with the Bow Saga. Basically, if you don't know what that... Episode 5, I, Robot Wedding. Now, this one sees the return of Neville Papperman, where he gets married to a girl in a robot-themed wedding. I saw a lot of these trailers floating around. People were like, Neville's a cyborg. But he's not. So, it's just a robot wedding. This one returned to Freddy because at the end, Freddy and Carly share a dance. People are like, oh my god, they're dating again. And I don't know why I did that voice. But that's episode 5. Episode 6, I Am Cursed. This is the one where they really found their footing. They knew what kind of show they wanted to be. And I think people found that footing really. I think the people who worked on the show found the footing really quickly. They knew what they wanted to do. But the way this episode ends is what bothers me. Carly just slaps her face like that, and that's it. That's literally it. That's how it ends. I Need Space, episode 7. Now this episode is basically one of those cliche sitcom episodes. Carly needs space to film iCarly, Harper needs space to make her dresses, and Spencer's dating a girl, who then happens to be the solution to Carly and Harper's problem. She gives them their own spaces in her private women's club. And then things don't end up so good. I don't want to spoil it because it's actually a really good ending. And I didn't give a spoiler warning in the beginning, and I don't feel like editing the clip that much. So, just watch the episode. None of this are meant to be really spoilery. I Love Gwen, episode 8. You know, it would have been nice if this would have been 10. Because then I could have been like, I love Gwen, episode 10. But it wasn't. So, this is episode 8, where Milton has a misunderstanding that both of her parents, which Gwen is actually Freddy's ex-wife, they're getting back together, which they're actually not. And then Milton has a school play where she comes up with the genius idea to be like, oh my god, I know my parents are getting back together. Let's announce it at the school play like, I know the truth. But then Carly also intervenes, finds out that that's not true because that's what she also thought because Millicent convinced her to thinking that, which wasn't true. And then, well, right before Millicent's about to, be like, yeah, Carly jumps in, hops in, ruins the play for everyone, and then gets sent to the principal's office. Episode 9, IMLM, multi-level marketing scam. This episode sees the return of Griffin, yeah, the Pee-wee baby guy. Pee-wee baby guy. There's not too much to talk about this episode. I really want to get to episode 10 because that's gonna take like a whole 2 minutes. Basically, Griffin comes back. He's not doing Pee-wee babies anymore. Instead, he's obsessed with this new thing called sand, which is actually Fish food. You heard me right. Fish food. And Carly promotes it on iCarly. It ends up really bad, and then everyone hates Griffin. Now, I take a girls' trip. Episode 10. I'm going to read the official synopsis here. Carly's first ever girls' trip doesn't go as planned when the only other person on the getaway is Freddie. Now imagine you're on a getaway, right? And it's your first girls' trip, and the only guy there, and I mean not the only guy, I kind of spoiled the joke. Okay, and the only other person there is a guy, right? Um, but at the like in the middle, and then so basically for like an entire day, um, they're in a hotel. They're in a party suite, which they then find out is a bride and groom party suite. But then they just decide to stay when they find out that there's chocolate in there. And then when it comes to sleeping with, like sleeping arrangements, there's Freddy just takes the couch because if he has the bed, he's like, "Here, I feel guilty." I don't know why, but yeah. Basically, the bed is so comfy that Carly calls over Freddy to test it out, and Brooke catches them in action. Obviously thinking what it wasn't. They take it in, and then this was just one big creddy moment for everyone, you know? And I'm going to read the other part of the synopsis. That's one part. I don't want to spoil too much because it's a really good episode, my favorite in the entire revival. So take that into account and just watch that. Harper's missing cousin resurfaces and is instantly smitten with Spencer. Basically, Harper's cousin, Maeve, is like, she's not missing anymore. So she goes and hangs out with Spencer. I Can Fix It Myself, episode 11. Now, I'm going to read the official synopsis again, mainly because I'm on Google right now reading them. Carly is in over her head when she tries to repair her car herself rather than ask for help. Spencer tries to help Maeve reveal her secret to Harper. I realized I should have stopped at the first sentence, but I didn't. Okay, so first sentence, or you can replay it because I don't feel like rereading it. Carly's car is broken. She feels like, you know what, I can fix it myself because this guy is telling me lies and only lies. And this guy being Wes, who remains for the next for the rest of the season, which is literally just 3 episodes. This guy not being one of my favorite characters. Hopefully he leaves because we'll get to that in a second. Now, this episode is my friend Nick Goldpro's favorite episode. You know, I watched all these episodes with him because he has Paramount Plus and I don't because I'm broke. I'm just kidding. So moving on. Maeve's secret is I'm not gonna spoil it like again. I don't want this to spoil too much or if possible anything at all because that's gonna ruin if you guys haven't seen the show and are going to in the future is gonna ruin it for you. So I'm not gonna spoil the secret, but we'll get to a few things after that. I Throw a Flawless Dinner Party. This one was one of my not so favorite episodes. So I'm just gonna bus over it because I want to get to I Return to Webicon, which is personally one of my favorites, or you know maybe like my second favorite or something. I'm just gonna read the official synopsis for the 12th episode. I just want to get to the 13th. Carly plans a dinner party to help clear up her relationship status with Wes, but a glitchy app, Harper's work problems, and Spencer's love life intrude on her perfectly planned evening. Basically, Carly has an evening of, dinner, pasta, all that stuff. Doesn't go well because of Freddie, Harper, and Spencer. Basically, It's just what it would be in the original series, but without Sam. I return to Webicon. Carly and the gang return to Webicon where they run into a familiar face. It's only one sentence. Here's the thing. This episode, when you read the synopsis, I was even on Paramount Plus at Nicole Pro's house, and it said, run into a familiar face. You could think this, it could be Gibby, it could finally be Sam, it could be any other classic character, and instead they made it Bo. I mean, it was a good episode overall, but they made it Bo. But the way this episode ends off, being like, who is Carly gonna pick? Because then she's about to break up with Bo. I mean, Wes. She's like, they're not feeling it anymore. Then Wes comes up and surprises Carly with a makeshift Webicon award. Then the actual Webicon award arrives for Bo to present it to Carly, and then he's like, "Oh wait, I love you," and then Carly's like, "What the hell is going on?" And then when they're like, and then here's the best part though, when they're like, they're like, "Okay, who are you gonna pick, Wes or Bo?" Freddie gulps. He's like, "Oh my god, who are you gonna pick? Please don't be either of them. Please pick me." And yeah, and quote unquote, the final words of that episode was, "I got a penis parasite."